This is going to be the last diet advice you are ever going to need. So buckle up, get in, because we are going to record a podcast episode and answer this question. What are my thoughts about gluten and dairy in moderation, specifically for fertility? But let me be completely clear that your fertility is just a byproduct of your cellular health. So whether or not you have a diagnosed fertility issue, secondary infertility, unexplained infertility, or maybe you've stumbled upon this because you are thinking about trying to conceive in the future, this all applies. It's all the same. Now I know it gets really confusing on what you should do because there is so much conflicting advice on there, especially with the right specific diet, the Mediterranean diet, the paleo diet, the AIP diet, keto diet. There's so many out there, vegan, vegetarian. The truth, the facts of the matter that no one can actually deny is the perfect diet for you is simply finding what foods you're intolerant to right now, because it can change, it can shift for various reasons, one being gut health. You need to find what your food intolerances are and eliminate those to your best ability. Some people, the 80-20 rule or in moderation does not work for them because they are highly intolerant to them. Their gut health isn't at a certain level that it can tolerate it. If you have mold toxins, if you're dealing with a histamine intolerance, there's various reasons why. But right now, you need to figure out whether they work for you or not. And be radically honest. Some people, when they eat dairy or gluten or any other food, nightshades, obviously all of processed food, excuse me, are going to have a negative effect on you. Now, if you are like, well, I'm not that type of person that I can tell whether or not dairy or gluten is having an effect on me, then moderation might be right for you. But this is where radical responsibility comes down to. You have to be really radically honest with yourself and give it a really good go. In the free step guide, we talk about first just going for 14 days, right? Just give it 14 days to get off what you may personally feel that is not contributing to your highest potential right now, whether that be gluten or dairy or alcohol or caffeine or anything else going on, right? High sugars. Are you rating the biscuit, cookie jar a little bit too much? Be radically honest with yourself. Then give it a solid 14 days minimum. I really like when we get into fertility food or the 6 steps, the 6 essential steps to make your dreams come true. We really want more. We want a 30-day commitment to your ultimate goal, to really see, give your body that time to readjust to its new environment. Then after that commitment, if you're like, okay, I want to see what happens when I reintroduce the foods I've cut out. And remember, you only want to introduce one food back at a time. If you go whole, all out and start bringing things back in that you really miss, the sugar, the dairy, the gluten, you might not know, you might miss it. So you have to be really slow and calculated and be aware of your body's symptoms. In all the online courses and in the PDF guide or the Amazon hard copy book, The 6 Steps to Boost Your Embryos, we set goals. And we want to look at your normal and common health issue. Yes, the fertility issue is huge, right? But there's something there. There's something underlying there that is actually contributing to that issue. It's not just separate. It's not on its own. So we give you a huge list of normal and common health issues that you've maybe been told is no big deal. Maybe you're not on medication for them. Maybe you are on medication for them. Your doctor's like, they're normal, they're fine. Don't worry about it. They're not related to your fertility. I am telling you, those are your first symptoms of the basis of why you are having fertility issues in the first place. All of my normal and common gut health issues that I had were the cause of my unexplained infertility. They were the cause of my later diagnosed low egg quality. They were the cause of my high natural killer cells. So they're so important to really understand what is going on, get radically honest with yourself, improve in the diet area, right? There's so many other steps, but let's just focus on diet for this, and watch them go away. You will literally watch them disappear, decrease. It is so amazing. And for some people, it can be radical, like really quick, really fast. That's why you hear these stories of like, oh, I just went gluten-free and I got pregnant. Well, maybe that was just something that was causing a little bit of inflammation and oxidative stress for them. They got off it and their body was able to do the things they wanted to do because it didn't have to deal with the inflammation and oxidative stress. So you really have to know if you have an intolerance. Obviously, there's people who are, celiac or lactose intolerant. But there's another subcategory of us that just have these intolerances to kind of the mainstream food. Now, my personal belief system is that it's not just gluten and it's not just the dairy. It's how they're processed. It's how they're made. Our ancestors lived off of gluten and dairy. They lived off beer because a lot of that stuff was safer than water, or they didn't have access to a grocery store that you can literally buy fresh vegetables year round in. But it was all slow. There was no chemicals added to feed or the animals. What am I looking for? Antibiotics in the animals. The animals lived closest to the nature that they possibly could, even when we were farming them. There wasn't all this added BS in that. So that's what I say to people when they get a food intolerance test, a high quality one. I run the MRT Leap 160 for my clients, and gluten and dairy don't show up on their list. Okay, we're highly confident now that that's not an issue. But we also want to be mindful of what is in the dairy and the gluten that maybe we want to eat. How many ingredients are there? How are the animals raised? That massively plays a really important part of what you are consuming. So you might not have a gluten intolerance. It might just be the other crap that's in like the bread or the pasta. So that's something really, really important to think about as well. If you feel confident that you are eating high quality, slowly fermented, raised as close to nature as possible, and you feel good and it feels right to you, then eat it. You really want to hyper focus on the things that might not feel good to you, that are causing stomach discomfort or skin issues or hair issues or mood issues or sleep issues. Those are what you want to stay away from. The fad diets, all of them, all the big names out there are complete BS, because it's all about tailoring to what you specifically need. Down the line, if you are intolerant to a lot of foods and you start healing your gut and healing your cellular health, you'll see you have less food intolerances and you can handle more. But it's really just finding out about what you are specifically intolerant to, okay? The missing piece that a lot of people get with diet as well is not bringing in an abundance of things. We live in a society that everything is at your fingertips. So try not to get caught up in eating the same thing over and over again. Get outside of your box. The next, if you cannot commit to said diet that you know will help improve your situation, it's incredibly important for you to look into subconscious and mindset beliefs. That is going to be your missing piece. Because if you have the conscious knowledge that this is right for you, but you can't stick to it, there's something subconsciously that is blocking you. And it could literally be nothing related to food or fertility. So I hope that's helped, and thanks for sticking around.